Ladies and gentlemen, true strength is not something granted by external circumstances, nor is it measured by physical prowess, social status, or material wealth. It is an internal force, an unshakable foundation that remains steady despite the chaos of the world. It is the resilience to withstand hardship, the discipline to master emotions, and the wisdom to navigate life with clarity. True strength is cultivated from within, shaped by the trials we endure and the mindset we choose to adopt. The world is unpredictable, and challenges are inevitable. People often seek security in things outside themselves, relationships, careers, or social validation, believing that these will provide stability. But external conditions are fleeting. Wealth can be lost, people can leave, and circumstances can change in an instant. If strength is dependent on what exists outside us, then we remain at the mercy of forces beyond our control. However, when strength is internal, it cannot be taken away. It becomes a foundation that supports us regardless of what happens in the external world. True strength is found in our ability to govern our own thoughts and emotions. Many people believe that power lies in controlling others or influencing events, but the reality is that the most powerful individuals are those who have mastered themselves. It is easy to react impulsively, to be swayed by anger, fear, or desire. But strength lies in restraint, in the ability to choose response over reaction. When someone insults you, true strength is not in retaliating with equal hostility, but in maintaining composure. It is the ability to remain unmoved by provocation, to respond with wisdom rather than impulse. Endurance is a crucial aspect of true strength. Life will test us in ways we do not expect. There will be moments of loss, rejection, and failure. Those who lack inner strength crumble under adversity, allowing hardships to define them. But those who cultivate resilience understand that suffering is a part of life and that pain, though difficult, is temporary. Strength is the ability to endure without losing oneself, to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear. It is not about avoiding hardship, but about facing it with courage and persistence. Another essential element of strength is the ability to embrace discomfort. Many people seek comfort as the ultimate goal, avoiding difficulties whenever possible. However, true strength is built through discomfort. It is in struggle that we develop endurance, patience, and discipline. A person who avoids challenges never grows, while someone who embraces discomfort learns to adapt and overcome. Strength is forged in moments of difficulty, in the decision to persist despite obstacles. Discipline is another crucial component of inner strength. Many people rely on motivation, but motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes depending on mood and circumstance. Strength lies in discipline, the ability to act regardless of how one feels. A strong person does what must be done, not because they feel like it, but because they are committed to a higher standard. Whether it is maintaining integrity in difficult situations, committing to personal growth, or adhering to values despite external pressures, discipline ensures that strength remains consistent. Wisdom is also an essential part of inner strength. A strong person does not blindly react to life, but approaches situations with thoughtfulness and understanding. They do not allow emotions to cloud judgment or external pressures to dictate their actions. They seek knowledge, reflect on experiences, and make decisions based on reason rather than impulse. Strength is not just about endurance and resilience, but about clarity, the ability to see reality as it is and navigate it wisely. True strength is also demonstrated in the ability to let go. Many believe that holding on, whether to people, emotions, or past experiences, is a sign of strength. But in reality, strength often lies in release. Letting go of resentment, of the need for control, of the fear of uncertainty. This is where freedom is found. A strong person does not cling to what cannot be changed, but adapts, accepts, and moves forward. Lastly, true strength is quiet. It does not need validation or recognition. It does not seek approval or dominance over others. It exists in the person who remains kind despite cruelty, who remains honest despite temptation, who stands firm in their principles despite opposition. It is not showy or aggressive, but steady and unbreakable. In a world that constantly changes, where difficulties are inevitable and external circumstances are beyond our control, true strength is the anchor that keeps us grounded. It is not something we are born with, nor is it granted by external success. It is something cultivated through intention, discipline, and resilience. Those who possess it do not rely on the world to provide stability, they create it within themselves. Life is unpredictable, filled with circumstances beyond our control. The weather changes without our consent, people act in ways we do not expect, and events unfold in ways we never planned. Many people spend their lives trying to control the uncontrollable, believing that if they could just shape the world to their liking, they would find peace. But this pursuit leads only to frustration, anxiety, and disappointment. The truth is, the world will not always conform to our desires, and external forces will never be fully within our grasp. However, one thing remains entirely within our power: our response. Instead of trying to manipulate the world, we must learn to master ourselves. The way we respond to situations defines our experience far more than the situations themselves. Two people can face the same hardship, yet one crumbles while the other rises stronger. The difference lies not in the event, but in the reaction. A person who rages against circumstances, resents what they cannot change, and blames others for their misfortunes will always remain trapped in a cycle of suffering. But the person who accepts reality, adjusts their perspective, and chooses a constructive response gains true freedom. No matter what happens in the outside world, they remain in control of themselves. Imagine a person stuck in traffic on the way to an important meeting. They can curse, honk their horn, and let frustration ruin their day, or they can accept the delay, breathe, and use the time productively. The traffic is the same in both cases, but the experience is entirely different depending on how they respond. The same applies to every challenge in life. We cannot control the actions of others, unexpected misfortunes, or the passing of time, but we can control our reactions, our emotions, and our perspective. Anger is one of the clearest examples of misplaced control. When someone insults us or acts unfairly, the immediate impulse is to retaliate, to meet hostility with hostility. But reacting in anger gives power to the other person. It allows them to dictate our emotions and actions. True strength lies in the ability to pause, reflect, and respond with wisdom rather than impulse. Choosing to remain calm in the face of provocation is not weakness, it is mastery. It demonstrates control over one's mind rather than surrendering it to external events. Similarly, fear often arises from trying to control things we cannot. People fear uncertainty, loss, and failure, but these are all parts of life that no one can escape. Attempting to eliminate all risks, avoid all difficulties, or force life into a predictable path only leads to stress. The stronger approach is to accept that uncertainty exists, that loss will happen, and that failure is sometimes inevitable. Once this acceptance is in place, fear loses its grip, and we gain the ability to act despite it. Happiness, too, is largely a matter of response, rather than circumstance. Some people have everything: wealth, success, social admiration, yet remain dissatisfied. Others have little but find contentment in the smallest joys. This is because happiness is not dictated by what we have, but by how we interpret and respond to life. A person who constantly focuses on what is lacking will never feel fulfilled, while a person who chooses to appreciate what they have will always find reasons to be grateful. The ability to shift perspective, to find value in even the smallest moments, is what separates those who live in dissatisfaction from those who find peace. Resilience is built upon this same principle. Life will bring setbacks, disappointments, and losses. Trying to control everything to avoid hardship is futile, but choosing to adapt and grow through adversity is within our power. Those who see obstacles as opportunities to learn, rather than unfair burdens, cultivate strength. They do not waste energy resisting reality, but instead focus on how they can respond in a way that leads to growth. Another crucial aspect of controlling our response is understanding that not everything requires a reaction. Many people exhaust themselves emotionally by engaging in every disagreement, trying to correct every misunderstanding, or allowing every inconvenience to affect their mood. But strength lies in choosing which battles are worth fighting, and which are best left alone. Not everything deserves attention, and not every opinion requires validation. A person who masters this skill conserves their energy for what truly matters, rather than being constantly pulled in all directions by external events. Practicing control over one's response is a lifelong discipline. It requires self-awareness, patience, and a willingness to step back before reacting. But the rewards are immense. Those who master this principle find themselves less troubled by the unpredictability of life. They remain steady amid chaos, unshaken by the pettiness of others, and resilient in the face of difficulty. They understand that true freedom is not found in controlling the world, but in mastering their own mind. Adversity is often viewed as an unwelcome force, something to be avoided at all costs. People fear hardship, resist struggle, and see difficulties as barriers to happiness. However, adversity is not the enemy, it is one of the greatest teachers life has to offer. Every challenge, every setback, and every painful moment carries within it an opportunity for growth. Those who learn to embrace adversity rather than resist it develop resilience, wisdom, and inner strength. The difficulties that seem unbearable in the moment often shape individuals into stronger, wiser versions of themselves. Throughout history, the most extraordinary individuals have been shaped by struggle. Those who achieve greatness rarely do so without facing hardship. The strongest minds and the most resilient spirits are not born from comfort but are forged in the fires of difficulty. When faced with adversity, people are given a choice to succumb to it or to learn from it. Those who choose to learn understand that pain and struggle are not punishments but necessary parts of growth. Adversity teaches resilience. When people experience hardship, they are forced to dig deep, to find reserves of strength they may not have realized they had. A person who has never faced challenges is easily shaken when difficulties arise, but someone who has endured and overcome adversity learns that they are capable of withstanding hardship. Each time a person faces and overcomes a challenge, they become stronger, more prepared for whatever life may bring. This resilience is not something that can be taught in theory, it is something that must be experienced. Difficulties also teach wisdom. Hardship forces people to reflect, to analyze their mistakes, and to grow in understanding. A person who never experiences failure never has the chance to learn from it. Mistakes provide insight, and setbacks offer lessons that success alone cannot teach. People who have faced adversity often develop a deeper understanding of life, greater empathy for others, and a clearer sense of what truly matters. The wisdom gained from hardship allows them to navigate future challenges with greater clarity and composure. Adversity also reveals character. When everything is going well, it is easy to be kind, patient, and composed. However, true character is revealed in times of struggle. The way a person responds to difficulty, whether with bitterness or with grace, with defeat or with determination, shows their true nature. Those who rise above hardship with dignity and perseverance develop a strength of character that cannot be broken by external circumstances. Adversity tests and refines individuals, stripping away superficial concerns and revealing what is truly important. Challenges also provide opportunities for growth. People often become comfortable in routine, unwilling to step outside their familiar patterns. However, adversity forces change. It pushes individuals beyond their limits and compels them to develop new skills, new perspectives, and new ways of thinking. What may seem like a setback in the moment can often lead to unexpected growth and new opportunities. Many of the greatest successes in life come not in spite of adversity but because of it. The very struggles that seem to block the path often lead to new and better directions. Hardship also teaches the importance of perspective. When faced with difficulties, people often feel overwhelmed, believing that their problems are insurmountable. However, over time they come to realize that challenges are temporary, and that struggles are not as impossible as they once seemed. Looking back, people often find that the hardships they once thought would break them actually made them stronger. This shift in perspective allows individuals to approach future challenges with greater confidence, knowing that they have faced adversity before and can do so again. Furthermore, adversity fosters gratitude. Those who have faced struggle often appreciate life's small joys in a way that those who have never experienced hardship cannot. When people endure difficult times, they gain a deeper appreciation for moments of peace, kindness, and success. Adversity strips away illusions and distractions, allowing individuals to recognize what truly matters. It is often those who have experienced loss who appreciate love the most, those who have faced failure who value success the most, and those who have endured hardship who cherish life's simple pleasures the most. Many people try to avoid adversity, believing that comfort and ease are the ultimate goals. However, Those who embrace struggle as a teacher rather than an enemy discover a strength within themselves that they never knew existed. They learn that difficulties are not roadblocks but stepping stones, that pain is not meaningless but purposeful, and that adversity, rather than being something to fear, is something to learn from. Those who understand this truth do not simply survive hardship, they grow because of it. Emotions are an inseparable part of human existence. They shape thoughts, influence decisions, and color experiences. Yet many people struggle with their emotions, either suppressing them out of fear or allowing them to take complete control. Some believe that avoiding emotions will protect them from pain, while others surrender to their feelings without restraint, acting impulsively in moments of anger, fear, or sadness. However, true emotional strength does not come from avoidance or indulgence, it comes from mastery. To master emotions is to acknowledge them, understand them, and direct them wisely rather than being ruled by them. Emotions, when uncontrolled, can lead to destructive actions and poor decisions. Anger can push people to say or do things they later regret. Fear can prevent them from seizing opportunities. Desire can lead them down paths that bring only temporary satisfaction, but long-term consequences. When emotions take control, they cloud judgment and dictate actions without reason. A person who lacks control over their emotions may lash out in anger, make impulsive choices in moments of excitement, or allow fear to dictate their life. This lack of mastery leaves them at the mercy of external circumstances, as their emotions fluctuate based on what happens around them. On the other hand, avoiding emotions is just as harmful. Some people believe that suppressing emotions makes them stronger, that if they do not acknowledge fear, sadness, or disappointment, these feelings will disappear. But avoidance does not eliminate emotions, it only buries them, allowing them to grow unchecked beneath the surface. Over time, repressed emotions manifest in unexpected ways through stress, anxiety, and even physical illness. Ignoring emotions does not make a person strong, it weakens them by disconnecting them from their own inner world. Mastering emotions means developing the ability to experience them fully without being controlled by them. It begins with awareness, recognizing when emotions arise, understanding their source, and identifying how they influence thoughts and actions. Instead of reacting impulsively, a person who has mastered their emotions pauses, reflects, and chooses their response. They do not deny their feelings, nor do they allow their emotions to dictate their behavior. Instead, they acknowledge what they feel and decide the best course of action with clarity and wisdom. Self-discipline plays a crucial role in emotional mastery. When a person learns to control their emotions, they gain the power to act according to their principles rather than their temporary feelings. For example, when faced with anger, rather than reacting with aggression, a disciplined individual takes a step back, evaluates the situation, and responds in a way that aligns with their values. Similarly, when fear arises, instead of retreating into avoidance, they confront it with courage, understanding that fear is a natural emotion but should not dictate their choices. Perspective is another essential element of emotional mastery. Many emotions are intensified by the way people interpret situations. Two individuals can experience the same event, yet one may react with frustration while the other remains calm. This is because emotions are often shaped not by external events themselves, but by the meaning assigned to them. By shifting perspective, a person can transform their emotional experience. Instead of seeing failure as a disaster, they can view it as an opportunity to learn. Instead of taking offense at criticism, they can see it as a chance for growth. When emotions are understood from a broader perspective, they lose their power to overwhelm. Practicing mindfulness also helps in mastering emotions. Mindfulness involves being fully present in the moment, observing emotions without judgment, and responding with intention. When a person is mindful, they become aware of their emotional state without immediately reacting to it. They recognize the rise of anger, sadness, or fear and give themselves space to process these emotions before deciding how to respond. This creates a gap between feeling and action, allowing for greater self-control and emotional balance. Resilience is another benefit of emotional mastery. Life is unpredictable, and difficult moments are inevitable. A person who has not mastered their emotions may be thrown into turmoil by hardship, allowing sadness, frustration, or anxiety to consume them. But someone who has developed emotional strength can navigate difficulties with composure. They do not deny their pain, but they also do not allow it to overpower them. Instead, they process their emotions, learn from them, and move forward with strength. Emotional mastery also enhances relationships. Many conflicts arise not from external problems, but from uncontrolled emotions, misunderstandings fueled by anger, words spoken in frustration, or actions driven by insecurity. When a person learns to manage their emotions, they communicate more effectively, respond with patience, and handle disagreements with wisdom. They do not allow momentary feelings to damage meaningful relationships, but instead approach interactions with thoughtfulness and understanding. Achieving emotional mastery requires consistent effort and self-awareness. It is not about suppressing emotions or pretending they do not exist, but about cultivating a balanced relationship with them. It involves recognizing when emotions arise, understanding their purpose, and choosing how to engage with them. It means embracing emotions as part of the human experience while refusing to be controlled by them. A person who has mastered their emotions is not emotionless, rather, they are deeply aware of their feelings yet remain in control of their actions. They experience life fully but are never ruled by momentary impulses. True strength lies in mastering emotions, not avoiding them. Those who learn this skill gain control over their own lives, acting with wisdom rather than reaction, and responding to challenges with resilience instead of distress. Emotional mastery is not the suppression of feeling, but the ability to navigate emotions with clarity, intention, and self-discipline. It is a skill that, once developed, allows a person to move through life with greater peace, confidence, and inner strength. In a world filled with noise, distractions, and shifting opinions, it is easy to lose oneself in the expectations and judgments of others. People are constantly exposed to external influences, social pressures, trends, and the ever-changing views of society. Many individuals base their decisions on what is popular or widely accepted, rather than on a set of firm principles. However, opinions are fragile, unreliable, and often inconsistent. They change with time, circumstance, and perspective. Living according to opinions makes a person vulnerable to the unpredictable nature of external validation. True strength, integrity, and inner peace come from living by principles, not by the fluctuating voices of the world. Principles serve as an internal compass, guiding actions and decisions based on deeply held values rather than external approval. They provide stability in a world that is constantly changing. A person who lives by principles does not waver in the face of criticism or blindly follow trends simply to fit in. Instead, they make choices based on what they believe to be right, regardless of how others may perceive them. This creates a sense of inner confidence, as decisions are rooted in conviction rather than social expectation. Opinions, on the other hand, are unreliable. They are shaped by emotions, personal biases, and incomplete perspectives. What is praised today may be condemned tomorrow. Public approval is fickle, and relying on it for guidance leads to inconsistency and insecurity. When people allow opinions to dictate their actions, they constantly shift their beliefs to match what is most accepted in the moment. This lack of stability prevents them from forming a strong identity, as they are always adapting to external forces rather than standing firm in their values. Living by principles requires self-awareness and careful reflection. It means taking the time to understand what truly matters and committing to those values regardless of external pressures. This process involves questioning what is right, what aligns with personal integrity, and what kind of person one wants to be. Once these principles are established, they become the foundation for all decisions, providing clarity even in the most difficult situations. A principled person does not need to seek approval from others because their choices are guided by their own well-defined moral framework. One of the greatest advantages of living by principles is the sense of peace it brings. When actions are aligned with deeply held values, there is no internal conflict. Decisions are made with clarity and confidence rather than hesitation and doubt. This eliminates the anxiety that comes from constantly seeking validation or worrying about how others will react. A principled individual knows that, regardless of public opinion, they have acted in a way that is true to their beliefs. This kind of peace cannot be found by those who constantly change their stance to fit the opinions of others. Moreover, principles provide resilience in the face of adversity. When challenges arise, people who rely on opinions often find themselves lost, unsure of how to proceed. They may hesitate, waiting to see what others think before making a decision. In contrast, a person guided by principles already knows their path. They do not need external validation to act because their decisions are based on a consistent internal foundation. This allows them to remain steady and unwavering even in difficult times. Integrity is another key benefit of living by principles. A person who lives according to their values builds trust and respect, both within themselves and among others. When actions consistently reflect core beliefs, there is no contradiction between words and behavior. This creates authenticity, making it clear that decisions are based on conviction rather than convenience. In contrast, those who change their stance depending on external opinions often lose credibility, as they appear unreliable and inconsistent. Living by principles also fosters independence. Many people are influenced by the fear of being judged or rejected. They modify their opinions, beliefs, and actions to fit in with those around them, often at the cost of their own authenticity. However, a person who lives by principles is not controlled by these fears. They do not need approval to feel secure in their decisions. This independence allows them to live with true freedom, unburdened by the expectations of others. At times, standing by principles can be challenging. Society often rewards conformity, and there may be pressure to compromise values for the sake of acceptance or convenience. However, true character is revealed in moments of difficulty. The ability to stand firm despite opposition is what separates those who live with integrity from those who simply follow the crowd. Strength comes not from adapting to every opinion but from remaining true to one's beliefs in the face of pressure. Ultimately, living by principles creates a life of purpose and meaning. When people follow opinions, they are often left feeling directionless, unsure of what truly matters. But when they live by principles, their path is clear. Every action is intentional, every decision is meaningful, and every challenge is faced with conviction. Instead of being shaped by the world, they shape their own destiny, guided by the values that define them. Choosing to live by principles rather than opinions is a commitment to authenticity, stability, and strength. It allows individuals to navigate life with confidence, resilience, and inner peace. While opinions will continue to change and shift, principles remain steady, providing the foundation for a life lived with purpose and integrity. Life is unpredictable, full of challenges, hardships, and moments of uncertainty. Just as storms rage through the sky, bringing chaos and destruction, life brings trials that test the strength of individuals. Some people are easily shaken by difficulties, reacting with fear, anxiety, or frustration when faced with adversity. They change direction with every new challenge, allowing circumstances to dictate their emotions and actions. Others, however, remain steady like a mountain, standing firm despite the raging winds and relentless downpour. These individuals do not allow external forces to control them. Instead, they cultivate inner strength, resilience, and composure, ensuring that no storm can break them. A mountain does not fight the storm. It simply exists, unmoved by the turmoil around it. It does not crumble under the force of the wind, nor does it try to resist the rain. It stands tall, knowing that storms will pass, and that its strength is not defined by the weather, but by its own solidity. In the same way, a person who remains steady in the face of hardship does not allow external difficulties to dictate their inner state. They understand that challenges are temporary, and that their response to them determines their experience. Emotional stability is one of the key characteristics of those who embody the mountain. When difficulties arise, many people react impulsively, allowing emotions like anger, frustration, or fear to take control. This leads to poor decisions, unnecessary stress, and an inability to think clearly. Those who remain steady, however, recognize their emotions without being controlled by them. They acknowledge their feelings but choose to respond with wisdom rather than impulse. This emotional discipline allows them to navigate even the most difficult situations with clarity and confidence. Another aspect of being the mountain in the storm is resilience. Life's difficulties can be overwhelming, but resilience allows a person to withstand hardship without losing themselves. A resilient individual does not collapse under pressure. They endure, adapt, and grow stronger. They understand that setbacks and failures are part of life, but they refuse to be defeated by them. Just as a mountain remains standing after countless storms, A resilient person emerges from challenges with greater strength and wisdom. Patience is also an essential quality of those who embody the mountain. Many people struggle with patience, wanting immediate solutions to their problems. When faced with difficulty, they become restless, desperate to escape discomfort as quickly as possible. However, true strength lies in the ability to wait, to endure discomfort without panic. A mountain does not rush through the storm. It allows time to pass, knowing that every storm eventually fades. Likewise, a person who practices patience understands that challenges are temporary, and that wisdom comes from facing difficulties with calm endurance. Being the steady mountain in the storm also means cultivating inner peace. Many people seek peace in external circumstances, believing that if they could just control their surroundings, they would feel secure. However, external conditions are always changing, making this kind of peace fragile and unreliable. True peace comes from within, from a deep sense of stability that is not dependent on outside factors. A person who has cultivated inner peace remains unshaken even when life becomes chaotic. They do not seek comfort in temporary distractions, but instead build a foundation of strength within themselves. A mountain does not compare itself to the storms it faces, it simply exists in its own strength. Likewise, those who embody this steadiness do not define themselves by their hardships. They do not allow temporary struggles to determine their worth or identity. They recognize that difficulties are part of life, but do not let them overshadow their purpose. Their strength is not in avoiding hardship, but in remaining steadfast through it. Ultimately, being the steady mountain in the storm is about cultivating resilience, patience, emotional discipline, and inner peace. It is about facing life's challenges with strength and composure, refusing to be broken by difficulty. The storms of life will come and go, but those who stand firm in their values, beliefs, and inner strength will remain unshaken. In the face of life's storms, choose to be the steady mountain, unshaken, unwavering, and resilient. Let challenges come and go, knowing that your strength is not dictated by circumstances, but by the foundation you have built within yourself. Storms may rage, but they do not last forever. What endures is your ability to remain calm, to persevere, and to rise above the chaos with grace. Stand firm in your values, cultivate inner peace, and trust that no hardship can break you if you refuse to be moved by it. The storm will pass, but you will remain strong, steady, and unshaken.